Thanks. And we move to the next topic, where we will have 5 speakers, including 2 which will be remotely. So the next topic is repair policy, what is happening, and what should be coming next. So we will welcome remotely Simona Sejkova van Bommel, who is team leader at Directorate General Justice and Consumers of the European Commission. So I hope you're already there. Hi, Simona. Joko Dams. Oh, I can hear you. Hello.
Excellent. Good morning to everyone.
Good morning. So I would like also to invite on stage Joko Dams, who's research team lead and expert in a circular and digital economy at VITO, the Flemish Institute for Technological Research. You can come and sit next to me. Rosalie Heens, project worker at Repair and Share, an NGO promoting the repair economy and supporting the repair movement in Belgium. Thank you for joining us. Ugo Valori, co-director of the Restart Project, a charity advocating for the right to repair electronic equipment in the UK and in Europe. Hello and welcome. And also remotely, we have Malte Gallet from Greens EFA MEP from Germany with extensive experience on battery regulation. Malte, I don't know if you are there already and if you hear us. Are you there? You might join us a bit later. Okay, so let's start, and I will give the word to Simona at first, so we all hear you. Hello, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to join this event, albeit online only. So I'm here to speak today about the forthcoming initiative of the European Commission on sustainable consumption of goods. I regret that I will not be able to speak about the content of this initiative. I am not yet in a position to disclose it, even though I assume you're all interested in this. But I will speak about the context and state of play where we are, about our focus areas, and about the types of measures that we are looking at. And I hope that this will help you develop a better understanding of the initiative once we put it forward very soon. So first, a few words on the context and state of play, where we are. So we have, first of all, this initiative fits into the European Green Deal agenda, and in particular, the objective of promoting sustainable consumption of goods, which is also part of the Circular Economy Action Plan and the new consumer agenda. Importantly, this initiative is not a standalone initiative. It is part of a broader endeavor to promote repairability in goods. And it is linked, intrinsically linked to other initiatives that have already been put forward. In particular, the proposal for a regulation on eco-design of sustainable products, the ESPR, and then the proposal for a directive empowering consumers for the green transition. And I will explain shortly how they interrelate, the 3 initiatives together. Now, where do we stand? We are now at the stage of finalizing the preparation of a Commission proposal, which means that soon the Commission will adopt a proposal for an initiative on sustainable consumption of goods. Afterwards, this is not the end, though. This is only the beginning of a process, of a decision-making process where the European Parliament and the Council will actually have to adopt this proposal for it to become law, for it to become European law. So we still have a long way until it comes into force, and there will still be negotiations forthcoming on the proposal that we will put forward. But as I already said, we have gone a long way analyzing a lot of input from stakeholders. We ran a public consultation in the last year. We collected a lot of data. And based on all this input, we carried out an in-depth analysis of the issues, which brought us to conclusions on the key areas we should focus on. So first, before I go there, just to explain how our initiative relates to those that I mentioned before. I said it is part of a broader endeavor, and in reality, it is part of a package of initiatives promoting repair. So first, eco-design for sustainable products regulation. It focuses on the production phase, on the product design, and so to say, the technical repairability of products. Then secondly, we have empowering consumers for the green transition, which focuses on the point of sale. So this is the initiative that helps consumers identify, let's say, more repairable, more durable products, which they could purchase. And then finally, at the third stage, comes our initiative, which focuses on the after-sales phase. It is the phase in which you purchase the product and a defect occurs. And then this brings me to the focus areas, basically, what happens when a defect occurs. Having analyzed all the input we received, we thought that we should focus on two big scenarios. First, it is defects occurring within the legal guarantee. And secondly, it is defects that occur beyond the legal guarantee. And to simplify this, I would give you an example. Let's say I bought a tablet. I went to the shop, I bought a nice tablet, and at home I open it and I see that the touch screen is not working properly. So then it means the defect was already there. It was already there when I purchased the product, and it is actually covered by the legal guarantee. So I can go back to the seller, and the seller will have to remove this defect for free of charge, because this is covered by the legal guarantee. And here we have two possibilities. The seller may repair in the first place or may replace. And in reality, what we see based on our analysis is that most consumers would prefer, if possible, that this tablet is simply replaced. And this is what often happens. The goods are replaced, especially also lower value goods that can easily be replaced, let's say a kettle or a hair dryer, so they're replaced, and often these goods that are replaced and returned go to waste. And then the second scenario is beyond the legal guarantee. Let's say I bought this tablet, but then I drop it accidentally and the screen is not working properly. But this is my fault. It's not the seller's fault. It's not also the manufacturer's fault by any means. And this is not covered by the legal guarantee. And then the question is, what happens? It's me who has to pay for the removing this defect. And there, how do consumers react? Here we identified a number of issues that actually deter consumers from repair. There are inconvenience factors, that it is difficult, it takes time to find a repair who can fix it for a good price, quickly, conveniently for me. Often it is not even easy to find who could fix it for you, ideally somewhere nearby. And last but not least, the repair price is often quite high and therefore dissuasive for consumers. And therefore, often consumers in this situation may decide to simply go and buy a new product instead of bothering to repair their old defective product. And therefore, the big problem we see is the premature disposal of repairable goods. The goods that could still function for years, but actually go to waste. And then finally, maybe the most interesting part, what are the types of measures under consideration? As I said, I cannot go into detail on what we are going to select in terms of measures, but I will explain the types of measures we are looking at. And these are measures that could actually address the issues we see in these two scenarios. In the first scenario, under the legal guarantee, there are different types of measures. First, let's say we could promote, prioritize repair as a remedy within the legal guarantee. Prioritize repair as opposed to replacement in particular. Secondly, we could prolong potentially the length of the liability period so that goods could be repaired for a longer period of time. This period is usually 2 years in most member states. Then there are some measures that involve the use of refurbished goods. Let's say possibly replacement with refurbished goods within the legal guarantee, or prolonging the legal guarantee for refurbished goods as such. And then Yeah, move on to the second scenario, the types of measures we're looking at there. First, measures that make it easier for consumers to identify where they can repair. Then also under what kind of conditions they may repair, including the price. So let's say bringing more transparency to repair services, making it easier to access repair services and find them. And last but not least, the well-known so-called right to repair, which could entitle consumers to actually claim repair as a right. So increasing consumer rights beyond the legal guarantee. I would end it here because, as already said, I cannot go further in explaining the exact choices that will be made, but you will learn very soon about it. And I invite all of you to follow the developments in this field, which are very well advanced at the European Commission. And I will be happy to answer more questions in the discussion. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Simona. And we're very excited to discover what will be the decisions taken. So now the word is to Yoko.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Yoko Dams. I'm a researcher at Vitol, and I will bring here the research perspective. Let me see if I can put the slides on.
Yes, it's coming.
It's coming.
There it is. So you can start, I think.
Yeah, so when supporting repair and repair policies, we at Vitol and as researchers, we roughly do two types of activities. First of all, no slides yet? It will appear later.
It will, eventually it will come.
It's nicely structured, but then I will do it this way. So first of all, we have models and we have tools which we use to develop scenarios.
Yes, there they are.
Okay, this is an overview of our session, and then the research perspective, and then my agenda. Perfect. Thank you, Liv. You have built experience with this thing now, so thank you for sharing. Then we use these tools to develop scenarios and bring insights towards policymakers in the development process of setting up new policies. And the second activity has mainly to do with monitoring policies or with other societal aspects such as circular economy, such as sustainability. How is this evolving over time within our community, within our region, our country, etc. And so I will give you examples for each of those two aspects, what we did recently. So first of all, with respect to policy preparation, we have a CGE model. It's a macroeconomic optimization model. It represents the Belgian economy, and it is perfectly suited to bring in a policy shock in your economy and then see how this economy is affected. And so a few years ago, we have developed this scenario. It was a tax reduce for repair services of 4.5%. And apparently, it has really attractive results. So as you see on the screen, the larger macroeconomic effects, there you see GDP will increase, your households will become richer, investments will grow. It's all a positive story, while also being able to reduce your CO2 carbon footprint. So this is really an attractive result. And as we, our shock that we installed here, it's just only minus 4% of repair tax deduced. It's very limited, which leads to a larger sector of repair services. So here jobs were created and more repairers hired, etc. But it didn't affect too much the retail sector either. So also that this is a positive message, I think. And so this research also has been published in an SCI paper. So yeah, it's a good story, I think. Then next on the monitoring aspect. A few years ago, we went through this process together with the European Environment Agency. because we both shared opinion that the European Circular Economy Monitoring Framework developed by the European Commission and Eurostat, it shows a number of indicators, looking into waste indicators, looking into raw material use, and so etc. It's highly relevant. It's perfect. It's using Eurostat data, which is highly reliable and trustworthy, and so on. It's perfect, but it misses a lot of the circular economy. It doesn't show anything about repair, reuse, shared use. It's lacking over there. And so there, for the Circular Economy Action Plan, we stated there that we will improve this monitoring framework, and we will look into new types of data, because the statistical data there is not available for those circular economy activities, but we will look further. And so that's what we did. In 2021, we conducted this study for the EEA, at the European Environment Agency, looking into non-statistical data. And so we've explored many new emerging data streams, as we call it, and also for repair. We digged into the repair as a case study, and we looked in two new data streams, being governmental data, because in Sweden there has been a tax deduction on repair installed, and also because of the tax, how they installed it, they receive data, people repairing, then they know that the repair took place, and so they also have created this way a new data stream, which is very interesting, of course. And secondly, most importantly, we also analyzed the data offered by the Open Repair Alliance. So this is the repair communities logging the repairs they do at the repair communities, the repair events, repair cafés, and so on. And we had to conclude that this data is highly relevant for deriving success rates of repair, for finding out what common failures are for these different types of devices, and to calculate the number and the average age of incoming products, failed products, and discarded products. So for this statistic, we've used the data. Then last year, 2022, we have written this report at the EEA, which is to describe the repair sector more in depth. And that's what we did. So we came with a lot of numbers on volumes of repairs, how large the sector is. Yes, thank you, Fanny. Professional repair, and we also looked into voluntary repair and do-it-yourself repair. And also there, we happily made use of the data offered by the Open Repair Alliance. And so I come to my next slide, my last slide, because when we go back to then the Sharepair project, here we've built up this large data platform, Open Repair Data Platform. We will zoom in on this later today, but at least we are pulling together the Open Repair Alliance data with other data created. For example, the Repair Connects data is pulled together. And this is an ideal data for producing insights from a policy perspective, because also as Simona, she was doing these impact assessments for all the regulation that she's working on these days, and she didn't find the data. She couldn't find the success rates of repair, common failures, and so on. She was. Yeah, she said, like, I really, we cannot find it. I said, yeah, well, I will give you. It's not a problem. So this way, we also helped out the Commission with these impact assessment studies. And so that's made us decide to build a large dashboard upon this data platform, which I will show a few glimpses of. So you see the number of incoming products over the years. You see for each product device the success rate for repair. You see how success rates are evolving over time, how it differs between countries, what differences there are between devices, etc., etc. It's a large dashboard which I invite you to consult and have a look, and because these insights are really needed for policy, I think. So that's it.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Yoko, for all these data analysis. And so now we leave the floor to Rosalie Heens.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. Rosalie from Repair and Share. I'm waiting for my slides to appear. There they are. I will focus in my contribution on two topics. One builds a bit further on some aspects that Yoko already touched, but adding insights from professional repairers in Flanders. And I'll also present some elements on the plans for a Belgian repair index. Starting with the insights from professional repairers in Flanders, I'd like to talk about a survey that we did in 2020 of professional repairers of small household appliances in Flanders to hear from them what barriers and levers they see for stimulating the repair economy and what input they have for policy proposals around that. We thought it was important because professional repairers are a sector in decrease, at least in Flanders, especially repair outside of warranty. And we wanted to hear from the remaining repairers what inputs they had, because although they have valuable input for policy preparation work, they're often not represented in policy discussions because they do not have like an umbrella organization fighting for their interests. So something they also stated in our survey. The most important conclusions of the survey that came out of it when we asked for barriers were money and time, basically. Money meaning that the repairers are struggling with high cost of wages, like Lina already pointed out in the previous session, high costs for spare parts, logistics and IT systems aligned with systems of the manufacturers. Adding to the high costs of wages is also that repairers experience that devices are becoming more complex. So this increases diagnosis and disassembly times and takes a lot of time and makes wages raise. And on the other hand, they often are confronted with long delivery times for spare parts. So in the end, repairing becomes something that's expensive and slow. So it becomes less attractive for consumers. So if we look at the major levers that they put forward or the policy proposals that they backed, then we saw the VAT reduction and the repair vouchers coming out. The VAT reduction is, I was happy with the story of Yoko because it confirms a bit the feeling of these professional repairers that it's something that could really help to stimulate repair. It's also something that's not has to be worked out from scratch, like Yoko said. It's already there in Sweden, so it's something we can continue on. But of course, it cannot be a standalone measure that will solve all problems with repair. Another measure, financial measure that was proposed in the survey is the system of repair vouchers, also not something new, but something that already exists. It started in Graz and Vienna, cities in Austria, but now you have it for the whole of Austria. There's also a German state, Thuringia, where you have a similar system of repair vouchers or repair bonuses, where citizens have rights to a certain amount of money with which they can pay repair at local repair shops. Like I said, there's already some experience with it, and everywhere where they tried the repair voucher system, they saw it had a big effect in stimulating repair locally. Like in an interview with Roos of Vienna, they stated, well, we saw really a 30% increase of our turnover thanks to the introduction of repair vouchers. So these seem like two promising measures we urge Belgium to look into and to take over and to adapt to our context. The second part of my contribution is about the plans for a Belgian repair index. For those who have never heard about the repair index, basically it's a score that is displayed at the place where you buy a product, be it online or in a live shop, that gives a score rating the repairability of the product. It's a mandatory measure. The score is calculated on different criteria, including the price of repair, but also the availability of spare parts, the availability of repair information, the ease of disassembly of the devices. So these are used to calculate the score. It's a system that is already in place in France since 2021. In Belgium, the state is that it's a legislative proposal by Federal Minister of Environment and Climate, Zakia Khattabi, who has worked a very similar system to the French repair index. With some partners of the Sharepair project, Repair and Sharepair together, but also Test and Coop, we decided to work on this proposal and to push for it because it fits well with the aims of the Sharepair project of informing and guiding citizens towards repair. Also because it confirms what every survey of consumers says, that consumers are really demanding for more reliable information on durability and repairability. And also we saw that in France it also is a promising experience with some good results. But we think it's important to also incorporate the lessons we have learned in France so far, something we also closely try to monitor. First, the good news there is that in different surveys that were conducted a half year and 1 year after the system was introduced, is that a wide majority of consumers say that the index is really something they perceive as useful for making purchase decisions, so that they are also going to take it in account when making a purchase. But however, there are also some aspects of the index that need improvement. One important aspect is that the different criteria in the French system have an equal weight. And this can give way to misleading results. For instance, a product can obtain a good score if it scores very well on availability of information, even if there are no spare parts available. So that's something that should be recalibrated in a way or another. Another conclusion from the evaluation of Alta l'obsolescence programmée was that there really is a need for independent monitoring of the scores, because they did a counter-expertise of 6 products, and in 5 of the 6 cases, they saw that the repair scores attributed by the manufacturers were higher than what they had as a result. So it gives the impression that manufacturers are too optimistic in calculating the scores, and there's really a need for independent monitoring of this. So we really urge the people who are taking care of this Belgian repair index to incorporate these lessons when working out the Belgian system. A last point that I want to add concerning the status of these plans for the Belgian Repair Index is that we were a bit surprised to see quite a strong opposition from industry and trade umbrella organizations in advisory boards, in stakeholder meetings, and procedures both at European and at Belgian level. While this basically is about giving consumers transparent information, enabling them to make a durable choice. So it's not a very far-reaching or ambitious measure. It's just one small step that we're going to need to move to this circular economy. So if you already have so much opposition to such a small step, then we hold a bit our breath for the more ambitious steps that will have to come, and we strongly ask our governments not to give in to the questions of industry to delay or water down or just dismiss this proposal for a Belgian repair index.
Thank you. And indeed, we hold our breath. Thank you, Rosalie. And now we go over to Hugo. Hugo Valori, the mic is yours.
Thank you. So I'm going to try to give a European perspective in this conversation. And on the one hand, it's indeed exciting that Simona Stajkova from the European Commission is mentioning right to repair as part of what the Commission is working on. But we as campaigners and activists and analysts of community repair data and inspiring others to run community repairs and log their results, we are concerned. We are concerned because we see that this term, right to repair, is being used to propose legislation that doesn't exactly do what we ask. So, we want everyone to be able to decide how to repair their products. And that is different from having the right to claim that a manufacturer should repair a product beyond the warranty period. It's a lot more. That's why we talk in terms of a universal right to repair. And if any of you has ever been to a community repair event, you'll know that there is plenty more that can be done to extend the lifespan of our products compared to what a manufacturer or retailer would be able to do. Often you might be told that it is not worth it. You might be pushed to consider an alternative, replace, upgrade, etc. We hope the legislation will go in the right direction in improving the hierarchy of remedies, but we want a really universal right to repair. So for everyone to be in control of the products in their life, rather than the other way around. And keep that in mind as I try to remind us where we started from. So we as an organization are one of the co-founders of the European Right to Repair campaign, and for years we've been working, co-leading the Open Repair Alliance, also getting the evidence for why people are frustrated. I mean, everyone knows that people are frustrated with products that don't last long enough, but there's this hard work of actually having to prove that we have the data that manufacturers are either hiding or not able to share, or they don't have it at times either. And so it's a lot of work really trying to bring citizens, activists, environmentalists, and everyone together to change this for good. And it is about changing the product designs, of course, so that the products are actually easier to be repaired and the parts are available and the information is available, making that information comprehensible by the general public. So repair indexes are part of this. But it's also about making it universally available, which means affordable, and so that we can meet both our climate goals and make it not a gigantic nightmare for anyone who's trying to do the right thing. And so at European level, there is a lot going on under this right to repair banner in terms of legislation. Some legislation that we have not been directly working on, but some of our partners more working on standards have, such as the universal charger. And then there's been battery regulation that's finally been approved, smartphones and tablet regulation, and helping to make these products more repairable by design. And there's more work, extremely slowly progressing work on making other product categories more repairable, starting with vacuum cleaners that I'll mention in more detail later. And then there's the promise of a repair index in the EU, which publicly will be adopted in hopefully just a couple more months, but that we know to be flawed already and not enough. And then obviously, as Simona mentioned, there is the consumer rights aspect of this. And I have to say that I'm a bit concerned that I didn't hear from her a date. We were under the impression that this package will be adopted by the Commission on 22nd of March, so very soon, after a delay of over 6 months again. And I hope she can confirm later that indeed we are very, very, very soon going to see this. But just a quick summary of the things that we did get so far. Oops, sorry. So the main win, really, and this is something that as European Right to Repair campaign we worked a lot on, is ensuring that as part of the new battery regulation, all consumer products will have to be designed so that batteries are user replaceable. So no more soldered batteries in the vast majority of products. This is a big deal, but there are caveats. One, that it's a legislation that took forever and will only apply to new products coming from, if we're lucky, end of 2026, maybe 2027, to be confirmed. And also that, unfortunately, despite our heavy campaigning on this, some exemption remains for products supposed to be mainly operating under wet conditions, which could mean that a toothbrush could be considered as heavily operating under wet conditions, understandably, and that could be a way for manufacturers to continue to make throwaway products, or rather products that, unless you are a very committed repair hero, you wouldn't go to the extent of replacing the battery of. There are good designs, but if you don't make them mandatory, you'll still have plenty of people that don't follow them. That's why we need regulation.
Ugo?
And then comes the file that we've been working for a long time, and it's the smartphones and tablets one. And yeah, we called it as campaigning on this, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because there's definitely lots of great things, including the fact that devices, many spare parts, up to 15 spare parts, will have to be made available to professional repairers, 5 of them only to consumers and repair groups, like repair cafes and the likes, and that batteries will have to retain a certain endurance for many cycles, so reducing the case that you will have to replace the battery too soon, and many other positive aspects about the durability, more robust screens, etc. So this is good. However, it's not enough. So the climate ambition isn't enough. It's not in line with what the Green Deal is asking, so it should have been more. And on aspects that we are particularly concerned, how products will not be supported by design for as long as we need it to. So we had a campaign going on asking for a 10-year smartphone, and we now will have, starting in probably the first quarter of 2025, smartphones that are supported for 5 years with security updates from the date they get retired from the market. So it's a start, but it's not enough. And most worryingly, from our perspective, software will be manufacturers will be allowed to use software to have control, potentially, of what parts people use. So potentially leading to having them control the market and maybe disable some features if you get a reused part or a cheaper part from a third party. So there's a lot to work on. Then comes the repair index, which has been, again, approved, but it's not publicly adopted yet. But again, we expect this to happen in May, at the end of the 3-month period that the European Parliament has for any final comment. And it is using as a starting point the example of the French one, but removes anything to do with the criteria of affordability, well, of the cost of spare parts. So that was a very useful aspect for the French one, and it's gone. So we need a lot more if we are to help consumers also choose what are the devices that will be not just theoretically repairable, but actually affordable to repair. If you really want to extend the lifespan of products, you need to do something about that as well. I'll zoom out for a second and just pay respect to how we are trying to convince policymakers that this is what we actually need. Here is a snapshot of data collected through the hundreds of community repair cafes, restart parties, and other initiatives mostly across Europe that submit data about what they repair. And we had thousands of examples of vacuum cleaners, a product that currently is going through a very lengthy process of eco-design regulation development. So we're still far from any regulation to make future vacuum cleaners more repairable. But a consultation by the European Commission was asking if 3 spare parts to be made available for this product is enough. Well, our data shows that there's very many types of failures for these products, obviously, and so clearly many spare parts are needed. But there's more to it. We show like the percentage of success with all of these repairs. And more in general, not just for vacuum cleaners, we are also able to tell how long people are willing to try to keep their products for and repair them, product by product categories. That shows that people really want products to last a lot longer, increasingly keeping them in use for more than one might think. And to go back to what we actually need, we have some data about the barriers that people have experienced when they cannot fix a product, when the product is end of life. And the 3 ones relate to the 3 key pillars of right to repair campaigning. So the lack of availability of parts, obviously, but also the affordability or the high price for parts, and the fact that products are often impossible to open up for repair. So this should be a very good reminder for policymakers. So in closing this, the key gaps that we're still seeing are indeed the affordability of repair that's not covered by any European legislation currently in development. Nothing at all about this. The long-term software support that ultimately reduces the value of products over time. Have a look on any of the secondary refurbished products platforms, and you'll see that products that have very short lifespan for short support times from manufacturers lose value over time super quickly. Why? Because no one wants to buy a second-hand product that's no longer secure to use. And finally, all these software barriers that might, in the context of a circular economy, might actually lead us to a place where manufacturers retain more control by telling you you cannot reuse a second-hand part from the exact same type of device. So plenty of work still to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ugo. And I have been told that we were joined by Malte Gallet remotely from Germany. Are you there?
I am.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you very well. So the floor is yours. We're ready to listen to you.
Thank you. Yeah, I have to admit, hearing all these contributions, I'm really looking forward on our future legislation that we will work on. And also what we did already within the European Green Deal, it really shows that there is a lot more awareness on the impact that ad design has on our consumers, but also on the environment. I mean, it was mentioned we are working on the Eco Design for Sustainable Products regulation, where we come up with eco design measures for basically all the product categories. The universal charger was a really big success. And also the battery regulation was really pushing into a direction that I think nobody was expecting before this legislative term, I would say. So what we're facing at the moment, I think it's basically mainly the problem that so many companies they turn to politics where and designs where they decided we want our products to look nice but not to last long. And it was mentioned the premature disposal of repairable products. This is just such a huge environmental threat, but also really, really harmful for consumers. And just last week, I've been to Paris, and I went to see a repair shop for the white electronics. So for washing machines, dishwashers, dryers, ovens, and so on. So these big 7 white electronics. And the repairers, they told us there are per device, there are around 15 spare parts that regularly break. So you would think 7 products, 15 spare parts, a repairer needs 105 spare parts to have them in his or her car to go around and repair these products. Well, it's wrong. In the storage of this company, they have 60,000 different spare parts, because every washing machine producer uses another connection design for the same pump. It's all the same pumps, but for every single product they use a different design, so you cannot use the pump that you use in the one washing machine in the other ones. And I think this is really where we as legislators have to step in. For these 105 products, I would say, the spare parts, I would say we need European standards. We showed this with the charger, that this can really be successful. And with these standards, with standardized spare parts, we would address many problems. First of all, of course, the ecological footprint of the product and also of the repair, and also the affordability. Because currently, a repairer has to go back every second time because he or she has not the right spare parts to back to the storage because they're missing the wrong spare parts. So we would save the time of the repairers. We would save money of the repairers, and of course we would save so much money of the consumers, because then they are able to buy spare parts that are on the open market. You know, if they are standardized, then there is real competition on what spare parts are the best then actually, and there is no monopoly of these producers of them too, and then you only pay €5 and not 80 euros for a pump, for example. So I think this is one really crucial part that addresses many of the topics that were raised already. And also for the part pairing, I think there we as legislators have to step in to make sure that this is no model in the future anymore. As we can see it with Apple phones at the moment, if you exchange two phones, the same camera, from two identical phones that then they won't work. I think you cannot explain this to any consumer out there in Europe, why this should be legal. And so, yeah, I'm really looking forward to work on the right to repair legislation that's coming up. And really looking forward to stay in contact with all of you and to discuss the best ideas. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Malte, for being with us remotely. And I know that Simona is still there too. Now is the moment for Q&A with the audience live, but also for the audience remotely. And indeed, I received this computer here because I have a question coming in, but I already saw a hand raised in the back there. So we will start with you. And the good news is if we take 10 minutes, a bit more than 10 minutes for the Q&A on this part, we still have time to go back to the previous part for the questions that we didn't have time to answer. So thank you for this.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Bruno Vermoesen. I represent BSH, company manufacturing household appliances under the brands Bosch and Siemens. And in Belgium, we have 80 repair heroes on the road every day. And in the regions where we are active in the world, it's around about 4,000 repair heroes that we have. Actually, thank you very much for all the very interesting presentations and positions. And I just wanted to briefly react as a manufacturer of goods that are concerned of the right of repair initiative, which actually my company supports. I think that is a first important statement to make. As we also support the development of a repair index, but not on a national level, but on a European level. It cannot be that we have 27 different repair indexes in Europe. Imagine now that Belgium develops a completely different repair index from the one in France. That would mean that across the border, Belgium and France, one and the same washing machine would have two different repair indexes. How do you explain that to the European consumer or to the Belgians and to the French? Which is, I think, is also very important is not only the availability of spare parts and the indication about the repairability of a product, but it's also about the indication of the likelihood of repair. Did anybody already ask the question, what is the service network that is available to make a product repairable? My company, for example, we invest massively in a good service network, not only by our own technicians, but by authorized and also independent repairers that can perform repair on our products. And we teach them how to do so. No information available about how good the manufacturer's service network is in the European Union. And then another topic which I would like to address and react on the German MEP is standardization is of course great, and we fully support the concept of standardization. But how ridiculous would it be to standardize among manufacturers? That would be a huge hampering of innovation. Do we want to stop innovation? Do we want to develop towards a plan economy where the legislator is going to describe how we are going to have to develop our products? That would be totally ridiculous, and the consumer would not benefit at all from that concept. And then I have a question to all the organizations which are involved in repair and which the intentions are good, and as a person I can fully support. The question is, reaching out to the manufacturers who have the source code, so to speak, to repair every product that ends up in your repair cafe. And we are willing, as BSH, I'm not speaking for the industry, as BSH, we are willing to support, but there is one condition which I do not understand, why your organizations do not want to take up responsibility. The liability of the activity that you are doing is you are always shifting it back to the producers. You are always shifting it back to us. And I've put out my hand several times to many of your organizations, and it always fails on one point. The fact that you do not want to take liability for the actions that you are performing. And this is something that I do not understand, because we as manufacturers have to take liability over the entire lifetime, or at least 10 years, for our products. and asking you to do so when you're intervening on our products, you refuse it. Can you please explain me that? Thank you.
Thank you for this long intervention. I suppose many different people will want to react on what you just told us. Who wants to? Maybe Malte. I saw you. We still had your face on the screen on stage, but not on the biggest screen. So I saw you reacting to many things that were said. Maybe you want to say something.
Yes, I strongly disagree with you. Well, of course, I'm totally with you when it's about not blocking innovation, but we should not leave this as an excuse to push towards non-repairability, just as it is on the market at the moment. Or can you explain me why we need 60,000 instead of 105 different spare parts? I think nobody can explain this. And as I said, it's the products, for example, the pumps, they are all the same. It's only the little connection mechanisms that differ. And there is no innovation in this. So I think we should come up with standardization to open this, I don't know, maybe with the measures or the connection points, so that you can still be innovative on your pump, but not be stopped that repairers should not be stopped by putting another pump there that can serve the same goal as the original part.
So that was one reaction. I saw you didn't agree with that reaction. So I think we can have a lot of back and forth comments on this. Ugo, I see you take the microphone. You want to say something?
Yeah, I think, well, thanks for bringing these perspectives. I think it's really useful to have a dialogue. And I think you're right that we should also rate the quality of service networks from manufacturers. And certainly by advocating for a free and open market for repair, we're not against the service provided by the manufacturers, but we want to ensure that all independent have the same level of access at the same conditions to all the spares and the information on repair. And I'm not, a connoisseur of the specific network that you represent, meaning here in Belgium. So I don't have a comment specifically on that, but I do have a comment about what you said about Repair Café's initiatives. The organization that I work for, the Restart Project, supports community repair initiatives in the UK and beyond. And obviously in every country there are some different aspects in legislations of what liability can volunteer-run initiative can take, what kind of insurances are available to groups running events. The special element of community repair initiatives, at least the way we promote them, is that they are learning opportunities. They don't aim at substituting the work and service that independent and authorized professionals are doing at scale, but they're educational opportunities for people to learn collaboratively more about repair, the importance of repair. So the amount of repairs that happen is one aspect, but the massive, more important aspect is reminding us that repair should be the norm. In this context, at least in the networks that I am most familiar with, volunteer repairers repair with the participant and support them in taking better ownership of their products. So this is what's happening, and we're not, at least in all instances that I'm familiar with, we wouldn't consider the manufacturer to be liable for a failed repair at a repair cafe. What we want to ensure is that the repair cafe can't be made liable for a repair that didn't work out, because it is the participants' decision to come and try to repair it together with a volunteer. other countries, other perspectives might be different, but that's in the spirit of how we see community repair as an example, not the solution at scale for everything.
So I see many hands raised. I think that Rosalie also has some input or answer.
Yeah, a short answer to the things about the Belgian repair index, because if I look at the proposal that's there now, it's basically really a copy of the French system, and the lessons learned are also there in the plans of the French government to adapt the French repair score, and there's a lot of meetings between France and Belgium, so nobody wants every single member state to have a different repair score. So there's no risk, as I see it, for the moment that this is going to be happen. The aim is to have very similar repair scoring systems. And of course, we could wait for Europe, but now there's only one concrete proposal for a repair score, and it's for smartphones and laptops. There are no concrete plans for other devices. So why would we wait like 8 or 10 more years to have repair scores for products that are already have in France, like vacuum cleaners, for instance?
Thank you. So I saw many hands raised in the back, so I reckon the microphone is moving around.
Yes, I really appreciate the diversity we have here in the contributions. So from professional repair network supporter or representative to people focusing on government regulations. There's one discrepancy that I see. I think that technical know-how is available. The professional network in many cases does exist, and I think BSH is a nice example of a company that is really very positive in that sense. However, cost and price is the bottleneck. The willingness to pay the cost that it takes to repair a product in a professional way is often too high, and we find that willingness to pay is just the obstacle. The only thing I've heard in that sense was, well, from Hugo's side, there was, of course, the consideration on self-repair. Can you have your own initiative there, which could be very much cost-reducing? The only other inputs I've heard was, can we lower taxes and can we subsidize? Can we give vouchers? That gives a positive return. We have been focusing at KU Leuven a lot on where are the cost factors and in how far can we increase efficiency there. What is the potential technologically by having clever business models to cut down the expenses wherever possible? And there is a lot of unexplored terrain there. So the good news is we will have another speaker. Alex will interfere a bit later today to try to close that gap. Because there is also that, it's not just government regulation, it's not just subsidies, it's also about efficiency. We have so many new techniques that we can throw in to make repair more efficient and to cut down on costs. And hopefully that will help to close the gap.
Thank you. Yes?
Thank you. Just quickly, one tiny comment. Self-repair clearly is one important avenue. Let's make sure that it is combined with eco-design legislations that shortens this process and makes product easier to disassemble and repair and reassemble. Otherwise, you are really reducing the chances of that being happening. And a reduction of complexity in disassembling and reassembling will also make repair more cost efficient when they're performed by professionals, because they will take less time. And so let's be very, very concerned about some greenwashing attempts by manufacturers to now promote products for self-repair that don't meet standards that are coming up for products eco-design. And there's many examples if you check new products being launched these days.
Thank you. So more questions from the audience, maybe from the followers remotely. I don't know if there are any questions coming there, but
there are a few questions online, but I don't know if you want them now or after that question.
Well, let's take. I don't know where the microphone. The microphone is there. Okay, let's hear that one, and then we have the one question from online.
So my name is Dominique Van Dam. I've been working for many years as maintenance engineer, and we spoke here a lot about repairability or repair index. But when an equipment is defect, it's if somebody use it not properly, or there is a component who is weak in this equipment. So I would like to know if somebody is working on quality index of equipment, and so identify good manufacturers, and so allow people to make a good choice when he buy an equipment, and so not to have to repair it.
That would be a good start.
Just a quick comment on that. As part of the eco-design regulations that are coming up, for example, for smartphones, some of the conditions are the resistance to drops, and so increasing overall the quality at the baseline, like at the entry level, like that if you don't meet certain criteria, you will not be able to put a product on the market. And that's where you need some level of standardization that helps compare products. So there's probably more that can be done, but also, for example, ensuring that batteries need to withstand at least 800 cycles, retaining 80% of capacity, as it will be part of the regulation for smartphones, means that even if you need to replace a battery, it will not have to happen that frequently. So there's steps in that direction, and the only way is regulation to make that the norm.
Thank you. So let's take the question online.
Yes, so we have a question, which is, they would like to know who pays for the vouchers, and do you expect this will require more funding to maintain the vouchers?
Who can take that question, Rosalie?
I think in Austria it was paid by the COVID recovery fund that the government used to pay the vouchers. For the other, in Germany, I don't know actually.
We actually, as part of the European Right to Repair campaign, we just published last night a review of how these systems work that you can find at repair.eu. It's a blog post that covers all the current financial measures that are in place and explain how they are funded. In France, it's part, for example, of the EPR system, extended producer responsibility. That's how the repair fund is funded, but it just started, so we don't have any data on that. And in Germany, I believe it's a regional funding, but more detail on the blog post.
Okay, thank you. Well, we actually have 2 minutes left, so one last question that might be, you're both sitting in front of each other, so I don't know whose hand was first.
Thank you. I have a question. My name is Jan Lagos. I'm coming from...
Can you hold the microphone closer? Yeah.
My name is Jan. I'm working with Maakbaar Leuven, a community of repairers, and also trying to get to more innovative solutions. And my question is on open data and the importance of open repair data, because we have many discussions related to that. And my question is, in fact, mostly targeted to Simona, Malta, and also Bruno, because we can learn a lot about repair, how to do it more efficient, cost saving, in fact, by using this data as a means to have a better diagnosis. And this is why we need, of course, opening up these data sources, and the trendsetter has been the Open Repair Alliance, and our efforts in Sharepair, sharing repair expertise is also about sharing data and going beyond this exercise that is already important of having nearly 80,000 now, I guess, logs on repair results is very important for having a real circular economy with transparency on what is happening from the design up to the end of life of products. So my question to all is, and in particular to those who have impact on the efforts of repair services, how can we go further in opening up this source so that this sector becomes more visible and also more transparent about its activity? Maybe starting with producing some statistics, because it's one of the only sectors where there are no statistics about what is done and happening. So opening up repair data is a very important issue on practical and policy level. What are your ideas to promote open repair data?
So thank you for a question. Maybe we can turn to Simona or to Malte. Simona, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm listening carefully to this interesting discussion. Thank you for the question. I must say that it is possibly beyond the remit of the initiative that I'm working on. But there are I identified a number of very important relevant issues, but a general message I wanted to pass is that actually none of the initiatives we have now in the pipeline could address all the issues. It's all of them together that actually will bring the desired effect that we are working towards. And there are a number of different work strands, different initiatives that work towards the same objective. And now what you mentioned about repair data, I'm not sure if I understood the question correctly, but I think that one initiative that could be helpful in this field is the Data Act, which will facilitate access to data generated by connected products that could be helpful also for repair services. I'm not sure if this is exactly the angle that you had in mind, but this is something that we have heard also in previous discussions, and we think this is relevant for some situations. And then as regards to the data in general, data from the repair sector, data on the success rates of repair, the type of defects, the type of issues that occur. This is, I think, something that Yoko Dams touched upon in her presentation as well. I can say that indeed this kind of data is very helpful. This kind of statistics is very useful for our analysis when we work on an initiative, for our impact assessments. As you know, it takes a lot of time and indeed a lot of in-depth analysis for the Commission to come up with an initiative, be it a product-specific initiative or a more horizontal initiative as ours. And these kind of statistics are indeed very helpful, also for future policy development.
Thank you, Simona.
Thank you.
Yoko, I see you agree. Maybe you would like to add and complete while also closing this first part and this morning.
Yeah. 2 minutes. So I showed today that we combined the Open Repair Alliance data with other data, but of course there are many more data suppliers out there. They have the professional repairs, they have Bruno, you also performing repairs and so on. And it's an idea, but what if we could combine all this data, then there could come nice results out of this data. We can also apply AI towards it. I will bring that story later today, but it requires still some research. As Simona referred to the Data Act and the product passports, these are all new things, and I think this is still in the research phase. So it's really interesting, and we really need to do this research, but it's not there tomorrow, like the voucher or so on. That's more.
It all takes time.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all for your very interesting questions. Thank you, Simona and Malte, for being with us, even though it was remotely. And of course, thank you, Yoko, thank you, Rosalie, and thank you, Ugo, for being on this stage this morning with us. So now it's